Welcome back to Beyond the Margins, Inside the Mind Shaping Modern Finance, where we go behind the spreadsheets and into the strategies shaping the future of finance. Today's conversation is especially relevant for anyone who's ever asked, why is getting capital so hard, even when the business is doing fine? I'm joined by Blair Gatchel, who's helping solve exactly that problem at Breva, a fintech platform built to help small businesses actually understand their numbers before they ever hit apply on funding. Blair, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sharice. I'm really excited to be here, and I loved your description of what we do. That was spot on perfect.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. And you've been building in fintech, working with small business owners, and now helping lead a platform that blends finance, education, and AI, which is no small thing. What originally pulled you into the world of small business finance, and what made you want to solve this problem specifically?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. I think things are changing with AI in our economy, right? That's probably not a shock to anybody. There are, and we're already starting to see some AI related layoffs out there. I think there's going to be a shift from kind of big corporate jobs, and entrepreneurship is going to fill that void in our economy. I think entrepreneurship, it's no easy path, but it can be a really financially rewarding path, and it can be a really personally rewarding path. I've really enjoyed being in a fintech startup, for example, and being part of the founding team. I personally like to solve those small business challenges, and I really want to help other people to do that too. And I think small business here is going to be, it's a keystone of our economy, and it's going to be an even larger role as we move forward here.
Now, from what I recall, Breva didn't start as a tech platform. It started as a lender and then pivoted. What did you learn from being a balance sheet lender that ultimately pushed Breva to become a technology platform instead?
So we started with a thesis of we want to help and ensure that every entrepreneur has the capital they need to grow their business. And what we really found out was there is capital out there, but small businesses need help getting funding ready. So, positioning and structuring their company so that they'll get approved for financing. Business owners need help finding appropriate financing, like finding the lenders and the capital providers that match with their business. And this is kind of what I think is the really cool part. To the lender, funding the loan is the goal. That's the start of the journey for the business. So helping that business owner deploy that capital, they've got goals for that money. So helping them actually accomplish those goals. And that does something that's really important too. It gives the lender insights into how they can help. Better run businesses repay their loans at a higher rate. Seems obvious. So let's help them be better run. And really kind of directly to your point, it was really that those first two, what we saw was that people needed help getting funding ready. And then finally finding that appropriate capital that really drove the pivot just 13 months ago now, actually, to being a fintech platform.
That's awesome story. And that shift from providing capital, preparing business for capital is a big mindset change, and it reflects, I believe, a larger industry trend. From what you're seeing today, what is the biggest opportunity in small business finance right now as far as growth would go?
So if you look at some statistics, small business lending is kind of back in vogue. There was a decline in small business lending, and I'm really speaking of from a bank standpoint, under $1 million at the point of origination. Last year, 2025, kind of reversed a 2-year decline in small business lending. Where I think the real opportunity, there's millions and millions, obviously, of businesses that are out there. The real opportunity from a capital provider standpoint is listening to the businesses. And there's a real opportunity to provide a differentiated service to, frankly, to anybody. What people want from financial services, and this is going to come as a shock because it's in the name, is service. They want help with their money. They want help saving money. And this is true retail. This is true small business. I think this is true at the high-end commercial level too. They want help saving their money. They want help making more money. And they want help navigating what financial services products are and when to use them. But if you look at the tech trends in financial services, they tend to be internal only. They tend to be just focusing on making transacting with financial services more efficient. That brings the industry up to an expected standard. It's not solving what they actually want. So to me, the real opportunity, and if you really want to grow your portfolio and grow your customer base, let's get into that service, right? Let's actually provide them help and data-driven help. Technology is the way to do this. And I understand it, it's expensive. Can you, for example, can a bank afford to provide really proactive service to a small business customer? Technology is the way to do that.
Right. So now with Breva, you have an education side of it with Bree. Would you explain a little bit about Bree and how you use that to accomplish the helping businesses to get where they need to be for financial
So
borrowing?
Bree is our agentic AI CFO. So we had to name her, and Bree is what we came up with. And she will literally help coach, train, support small business owners to be better managers of their finances, of their cash flows. And she does the things a human CFO would do. And by the way, I think this is a fantastic use case for AI because we're not replacing human interaction. We're adding functionality where none exists, and we're enhancing human interaction. But to your exact point, Therese, Bree will provide guidance. Like, these are the 3 best actions to take right now. But then there's context in that. So she'll explain why you should take that specific action and the impact that it'll have on your company. And it's micro learning. Business owners, very busy, don't have time to take a lot of, classes. Hey, these are, introduction to your cash flow statement. So what it's doing now is decision support. This is the information that you need to know right now to make a good, informed decision. With that context, and it's a little bit of a drip of education, but over time, it increases financial fluency. It increases the business owner's mastery of the finances of the business, of their cash flows. We've talked to scores of business owners, and a common story is made some mistakes early on, but learned from those, and here we are. They survived making those mistakes, but a lot didn't. So if you think we go back and we help that entrepreneur avoid that mistake in the first place, think about the impact of that, right? We have more successful businesses, fewer failures, more growth. It's economic growth. It's profits for financial services. It's literally better for everybody. So we see that micro learning is really kind of central.
I love that. I love that you've harnessed the power of AI to do a complementary but proactive service for your clients as they get ready for funding or scaling their businesses, whatever way they look at it. On the flip side, what would be the most persistent pain point small business owners still don't realize is holding them back from getting funding?
So there's two common issues that come up when we interact or interview a small business owner. And as it turns out, small business owners don't like doing accounting. Shocking. I, I don't think large business owners like doing accounting either.
Right.
Just throwing that one out there. But what happens is, to a large degree, then they don't. And so nobody has the goal of, I want clean financial books, but it's a foundation. And you have to, if you want to build, you've got to have a good foundation. So having clean books is a big one. It limits your access to capital. If you're going to apply for a loan, your balance sheet has to balance because the people underwriting it are going to realize that the balance sheet doesn't balance. But it also limits your ability to understand what's going on in your business. So I think that one is a big one that needs to get solved. And you need to do it in a time efficient and cost efficient manner. And the next one, probably the other biggest complaint we hear about owning a business is constantly looking for capital and getting told no. It's related to the first one, but understanding, and we do this, like we will show where a business owner matches with a lender's credit requirements. And we'll also show, the steps that you need to do to get to the approval level. The lender still has to do the underwriting. So I can't guarantee that they'll get approval. But if you open up that black box and you can see, okay, this is the specific things that I need to do in order to meet those those requirements, then only apply when you're ready. Only an SBA loan has a personal credit score requirement. I think it's 680. So if you have a 650 personal credit score, it's a hard no. There's no point in going through the process of applying. You're wasting your time. Either find another source of appropriate capital or take the steps you need to do to meet those requirements.
So with your business, you help business owners know what the requirements are before they even go through all the time and the process to get to applying.
Absolutely. We'll ask them to set a funding goal. We know the credit box, the credit requirements of our capital partners. And I tell our capital partners, like, this isn't deal flow, it's loan flow. We'll only, send you, a borrower if it matches. And that's good for them too, right? It costs the same to underwrite a loan you turn down as it does one you approve. So reducing those denials out there, and I joke, but I'm really serious. I want to eliminate the, big red exit denial. It's better for everybody. More time. No one likes to get rejected, right? And it hurts and emotionally damaging. So let's move beyond that too. But it's time consuming and expensive.
So internally at Breva, what efficiency strategies or systems have made the biggest difference for your team recently?
Yeah, so we've been very fortunate that we have interviewed a little over 16,000 small businesses over the last few years. And I wish this was my idea. It wasn't. But so I can say I think it was a brilliant idea. We put a chat bot on top of that data. And we literally ask that data questions and have a conversation with it. And we've used that to drive the development of version 2 of our platform. So we literally have taken the information and what do small business owners really want? And for example, in our platform, you'll see the three best actions to take right now. And that's front and center, as is cash flow information. I mean, it's not surprising to hear that it's really cash flow that you really have to have visibility on. And the users were asking for more visibility, even more visibility there. And to be told what to do. So we do that.
Yeah.
Right. But it was coming directly from that data. It's a technological, thing here too. I've been in this industry, fintech, for a long, long time. We couldn't have done this 10 years ago. It would have been a much, much more iterative process. We wouldn't have had the functional leap that we've had in the last year either. That would have taken years to do because it took longer to write the code, but it would have taken longer to get the feedback, as well. It's been amazing. If I can brag on our tech team here, I think they're fantastic anyway, but it's just been amazing to see.
That 16,000 businesses is a lot of businesses.
It's a lot of businesses.
That's
Gotten
great.
some really valuable insights.
Right, absolutely. When it comes to acquiring new users, then what's been the most effective channel or approach so far?
We are a tech startup, and anytime you have a tech startup, there's always the issue of kind of credibility. Nobody knows Breva's not a brand, household name. Distribution channels has really been very effective for us, and it will continue to be as we move forward. Certainly lowers the cost of customer acquisition. We're essentially borrowing credibility, and it's a one to many approach. Kind of not the challenge, but the thing. Anytime you have that partnership approach, it's got to be a mutually beneficial thing. I've seen lots of partnerships. I've been involved with lots of partnerships, and the typical way is, so company A wants company B to resell their products, and both sides are looking for the other one to drive revenue. Where we've really, been effective is when it's kind of a two-way flywheel. So we're driving revenue for each other, and we're providing mutually beneficial support to the customer base. Part of this is what AI is really good for. AI, Bree, finds opportunities and then presents the solution. Finding capital, like, Bree can say, hey, your forecasted cash flow shortfall in 3 weeks, and payrolls do. Let's do something about that right now, because the cost of capital is very different now than it will be 3 weeks from now, an hour out. You can get funded fast. You just don't want to pay for that. So at some point, you need to have more cash to flow. And that means marketing oftentimes. So can find ways to essentially cross-sell. But all Bree cares about is improving the financial health of the business. So it's a fundamentally different message. And it's an effective tool and a great way to create, kind of that bi-directional revenue, wheel.
I
That
love
makes sense.
I love how you can take something and with the use of AI, make it so functionally beneficial to the client on multiple different levels, right?
So it's all about that. We literally measure the financial health of the business. We include the credit box of our capital partners in that calculation. But then you can't manage what you don't measure. And then Bree is looking at ways to improve the financial health of the business. That's her role, right? And then back to that context, like, this is why you should do this and why it's a good fit.
So it gives the understanding behind the do this.
Exactly.
So you make sure you make those educated decisions. Absolutely. So you've already used AI for transaction classification, real-time analysis, and financial education through Bree. Looking ahead, what parts of the business are you most excited to automate going forward?
Yeah, there's two. I'll say, if I could do two, I'll say one
Absolutely.
that's internal product specific and one that's kind of go to market specific. The product specific one, two sub industries, if you will, raised their hands the highest and the farthest in our customer interactions. One was logistics, specifically last mile logistics delivery, and the other one was construction. And so we made a decision to kind of double down on construction functionality. And there's a cash flow mismatch in construction, in particular commercial construction. The general contractor tends to pay relatively slowly on specific milestones in a project, but the expenses for a subcontractor on that project have to be paid fairly quickly. So embedded working capital, where it's all but frictionless, they can see the project, help with finding the supplies requirement, and more to the point, funding using working capital to fund those supplies, the work to cash cycle from weeks or months down to days. That I'm really, really excited about, because that's a massive impact. You think about better cash flows for a project, for a construction company, and better insights into those cash flows enables incremental projects, better for everybody. And then from a go-to-market standpoint, this is more external. You have to be really efficient these days. The best advice I think we got as a company when, over the last year, 18 months, was another founder that said, stay really, really close to your customers. Sounds obvious, but really make that intentional and listen. And which was part of the impetus for the chatbot on top of the data. But you also have to be really, really focused from a business standpoint on who your ideal customer profile is. Know who you want to serve, and then figure out how to most efficiently serve them. AI is making this easier. We score our leads. We have a scoring rubric, so we know, and who we want to interact with. We know who is most likely to fit our ICP, and who and how we can serve them best. And and personalization matters. Anytime for business development, it's not just how I can help, it's how I can help you, your specific organization. Technology is a big component there too.
That's solid advice. I love it. Now, understand you're currently just serving the US market. Do you have any short-term, long-term goals for Breva to move possibly into Canada or internationally?
We do. And we absolutely want to go internationally, incrementally here too. Canada, logical first step. There's other, we've already had a meeting with the office of the mayor of the city of London, for example. We were at a conference together. The city of London is actively recruiting, fintech expansion into the city, and you can see how our emphasis on supporting entrepreneurship and small business growth kind of ticks and ties into a mayor's economic development, goals. So absolutely, and Canada, the logical.
That's exciting. What advice would you give to business leaders who know they need better systems and financial clarity, but don't know where to start?
I think the biggest thing, the best advice is just to start. And there is a tendency to almost overanalyze. And so start, test, and adapt. And it's okay to change paths here. But you just got to get the momentum going, would be, what I would say. And we want to be intentional, but we don't want to overthink it. And, analysis paralysis here.
So for our listeners, where's the best place to learn more about Breva and connect with you?
www.breva.ai, and literally the only Blair Gatchel on LinkedIn. So, hit me up, and feel free to send me an email as well. Blair@breva.ai is my email address.
Wonderful. Blair, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for sharing the real operational side of building a finance platform that actually meets business owners where they are. And to everyone listening, if you have found in today's episode some interesting tidbits or knowledge that you can apply, make sure to like, subscribe, and share Beyond the Margins. We're bringing you real conversations with the people shaping the future of finance, one smart system at a time. See you next time.